Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. We have some breaking news regarding the Mazraoui, who has successfully undergone a minor precautionary corrective procedure after experiencing palpitations, something to do with his heart, effectively. United say it's a relatively common condition, is expected to make a full recovery, and he will be available for selection within the next few weeks. So first and foremost, obviously, we wish him all the best on that in his recovery. But for the immediate future, lads, for Man United, it's back to having one full-back again. Seems like the curse strikes again, Shreyas.
Yeah, it was only I was prepared for it in the first place because I think all of us knew that there will come a moment where one of Mazraoui or Dalot will pick up an injury and one of them will go out with the kind of pressure that both of these guys have had because both of them they've been playing full 90 minutes ever since the season has started with no absolute breaks. At least in other positions there have been rotations possible. I would say even in the centre back departments, you've had Maguire chip in games, so you've got Martinez or Dele getting a game off. Midfield, there have been rotations. Attack, there have been a lot of rotations. But when it comes to those fullbacks, you've got just Dalot and Mazraoui playing for you week in and week out. And with the kind of track record Mazraoui has had with injuries as well, it was bound to happen if you're going to be playing him again and again and again. So I'm not surprised. I think it's just I would say, it has a bit of a poor planning to it because I think even the club would have known that, if we are going to be playing him week after week after week, there's a very good chance that he'll pick up an injury and be out for a few weeks. And right now, we don't really have any other option. It's probably going to be Lindelof playing as a right back or a left back in the upcoming games, which doesn't really fill anyone with confidence. But that's probably the only option Ten Hag would go with.
Yeah, well, we're going to discuss alternatives. But yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it, Sam? Because there wasn't much clarity during the Villa game. He got took off at half time, I think, didn't he? And everyone was like, oh, maybe it's, a couple of tweaks or whatever. But to come out like this, that it's, something to do with his heart, did that not show in the medical? Were they aware of these problems?
Well, I assume that with heart issues, I assume it's very hard, unless there's a previous medical history of it. I assume it's very hard. Like we saw what happened with Eriksen. There was no thing, and he just dropped on the thing. And we've seen it happen with multiple players. What was the Luton player called? Forget his name. Apologies.
Tom
Lockyer. Yeah. Fabrice Mwamba. Like this, it's happened multiple times. So I think when it comes to that sort of stuff, I find it. I don't want to criticize the medical team too heavily because things like that can just happen. And obviously, it's very important to get it nipped in the bud and just sort of get it sorted because it can basically kill players. It has killed players. So I think it's really important. So I don't sort of blame on that. But yeah, if he knew about it previously to that game, that's an interesting thing. Like if he knew about it before that game and he's got heart palpitations, it's like I understand why we're risking him because we don't have anybody else. Again, this is highlighted what we were basically. I think everybody on this channel basically said, "Why have we not bought a left back this summer?" Didn't we? I think we all said it. We sold Wan-Bissaka, we got Mazraoui. I mean, okay, like for like, that's good. Why have we not bought a left back? Why has that not happened? And we kept saying it, and it didn't end up happening. And now we're suffering the consequences because we don't have one. Harry Amas would be the ideal thing, but I saw a report last week where basically they don't think he's physically ready, which means he's not going to play. He's had opportunities to play and he's not played, so we're kind of up shit's creek without a paddle, isn't it? That's where we're at.
What's more of a risk, Sam? Is it more of a risk playing Lindelof there or Amas?
Lindelof, because it's square pegs in round holes again, isn't it? How many times have we been here where we've put players in positions they don't play in, and it's cost us? Like, we see the effect of when Luke Shaw plays there, how much better we are down that left-hand side because he's a natural left-back. Yeah. We've seen Dalot, he's done all right there, but how many mistakes has he made going back in defending because it's not his natural position? I know the inversion thing, that's why Ten Hag likes to play him, but I just don't think it works. You've got a ready-made left-back, right? Maybe you don't think he's physically ready, but it's square pegs in round holes again. I just think that's a lot worse than playing a natural left-back there.
Yeah, I don't think you've got any immediate tough games coming up, at least over the next 2 or 3, I don't think you have. So integrating wouldn't be as much of a problem. But yeah, let's talk about alternative Shreyas, because obviously it's another kind of maze that Ten Hag's got to navigate. in it. Like, what would you personally go with? What would be your preference and why? And by the way, I'm going to put these on because I got a belting headache, the light in my eyes. I'm not taking the piss. I literally need them on. So yeah, sorry.
He was jealous of mine. He was jealous of mine.
Yeah, so I've got to join the vibe. I mean, Shreyas has got some on as well, so I might as well join you. Talk to me about alternative, Shreyas, because we've got alternative shades on, haven't we? So it's a discussion.
I mean, alternatives wise as well, we don't really have many, options to actually look at. Probably only got you genuinely only got Lindelof, and apart from that, play Johnny Evans at left back.
Leacher. We can't now because we'll get onto that in a minute.
Oh yeah, we'll get onto that. Oh my God.
It's Evans or Lindelof, or you put a youngster Harry Amas out there. But the only thing with Amas, I would say as well, I expected him to get some minutes, and I think considering the games that we've had in the Europa League and the kind of rotations that we've seen in the Europa League as well, we haven't really seen him actually get any minutes at all. And even in the game that we had against Barnsley in the cup, he played Collier as a fullback rather than going with Amas or someone else. So, and in that moment, I just knew that he's not ready yet, or maybe Ten Hag doesn't really see him as an option, to start in that position this season. So, I just really think that maybe Amas is not the one he's looking at, right now at the moment as an option, because even last year when we were in an injury crisis, he did give Kamwala, an option, but at least we saw Kamwala, as a name being popped around before that West Ham game, that he's being involved in the first team training. Ten Hag sees him as an option, and then he eventually got a lot of minutes as well, by the time the season ended. With Amas, I haven't seen it at all. So that just leaves you with one option, and that's Victor Lindelof.
By the way, do you remember that? Do you remember that really good left back that we sold to Benfica for fuck all? Do you remember him?
Yeah, Alvaro Fernandez. He's doing an incredible job at Benfica now.
Idiots.
So, just I would say, there are moments where having something is genuinely better than having nothing at all. And right now, because we have no options left when it comes to that left back spot, it's already a very tough position for Ten Hag to be in. And then when you've got no physical or no, natural fullback actually playing for you in a position where, you could say, building out the back relies in that position the most. And the left-hand side is probably one of our more dangerous aspects to, to our game when we are attacking in the final half. Just doesn't put him in a very good, or, I think it already puts him at a disadvantage going into games. If you have, you're starting Lindelof as a left back or a right back in games.
Speaking about position, Shreyas, can you put the position of your camera down just a little bit slightly? If that's okay. Thank you very much. Mazraoui is a massive miss in it, Sam, because you think what he brings to this team. How much will this impact us, do you think? Will it be extremely detrimental?
Yeah, like
we played anyway. I know you're going to say that,
but what is our three best players this season? Eriksen, Johnny Evans, and Mazraoui. Put Onana in there as well. Like, I think he's made some good saves.
That tells you everything you need to know in itself.
You know what I mean? Like, he's come in and he's looked excellent and not put foot wrong. I think he had a really poor game. Is it Porto? Did he look bad, or was it the?
It was one, It was one game where he was like, no, it was Spurs.
Yeah, he looked a bit shit against Spurs. But maybe he was suffering with the sort of issue he's got now. Maybe that's when it sort of cropped up. But apart from that, he's looked excellent. I thought he's been one of our best players. So to lose him for what potentially could be up to 8 weeks. Apparently, they want him back. He should be back soon after the November international break, which is when every other fullback seems to be back, apparently. It's when Malacia is back, when Shaw's back. So,
supposedly.
Yeah. But didn't they say October international break, Shaw was back, and then they changed their minds, didn't they? So
it's just Shaw's null and void at this point, isn't
it? It just doesn't exist. So, it's an interesting... Could we see? I'd love to say, maybe a change in formation. We go to a back three, but I just don't see it with Ten Hag. I just don't see him doing it. So because we've got the players like you could do Maguire, De Ligt, and maybe not Leacher anymore, but
not Maguire now. Maguire's injured.
Oh, Maguire's fucking injured as well, isn't he? Jesus Christ. There'll be Lindelof, De Ligt, and De Ligt. That'd be back three, wouldn't it? So that's he's a big loss.
For a back five,
he's a big loss. It's a big loss, and obviously our wingers are not very good at sort of tracking back at it in Garnacho and Marcus Rashford. So he's sort of limited there with a bit of extra cover. So yeah, it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good at all.
It's certainly not. Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. 3 months, that does hurt. That's from Charlie Malman. 2 to 3 months, whichever way you look at it. Like the glasses, Sam. A little compliment there for
Can we get some compliments on the other guys' glasses as well? Just to make them feel better.
I mean, I'll always take compliments, yeah. Why is the whole team dropping like flies? Because this is United. This is what United do. Alex saying 3-5-2, skip left back.
I have to.
Yeah, how many years is Ten Hag going to rebuild? The dude has spent 600 million. We're supposed to have results by now, but I've got worse. Eric Ten Hag told Fernandes that he was not needed. He saw no talent in the guy. Now he's cooking in Benfica. Sancho's cooking at Chelsea. Nick, if you ever do a remake of The Godfather, you will definitely get a part. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. More to do with, I don't know if The Godfather has severe headaches, but...
You've not seen The Godfather, have you?
I've not. I know the famous quotes from it and stuff, you know what I mean? You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. That's The Godfather, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, right. Back to business, Shreyas. What we thinking about January, because that's the only window of opportunity, and it seems so far away at the minute, doesn't it? Let's even think about January transfer signings. But if there's any glimmer, shimmer of hope or light in this season, that's the one where you're gonna have to go and sign a left back there, aren't you?
I'm already thinking about next season right now.
Yeah. But who would? Well, you mentioned next season. Who would be a dream left back for you personally?
I think a dream left back in this side, I would go with Anthony Robinson at the moment. Fits the budget, is proven, is doing very good at Fulham, and I think he'd be very decent and wouldn't even be a gamble signing. So I would go with Robinson, but if we are looking, to go in for someone and you've got a lot of cash, I would go with Nuno Mendes from PSG.
Oh, top player. I'm big fan of him. Watched him closely at the Euros with Portugal. I've watched him quite a lot for PSG as well. He's decent. Yeah, fully agree with that. Sam, I know you're a fan of Robinson as well.
Yes. Yeah, I like Robinson a lot. He's and we both hate this phrase, Nick, but he's proven. Playing in Premier League, played in Fulham, and Fulham are doing really well this season. Like, he's looked good this season, so really enjoy. You've got an alternative option. You got Gutierrez at Girona. He could be a really sort of good option. I really like him as well. I don't know how much he would cost, considering
40. I think he's got a 40 million release clause in his contract.
No, not too bad. Not too bad. Like, that's an alright thing. So yeah, those would be the options I'll look at. I'm hoping we've done some scouting. I know there's a buyback in Alvaro Fernandez. So should Ten Hag leave the role, that could be an option there, couldn't it? Get Alvaro Fernandez back on the cheap.
Seems to be, and I think, sorry, just to think, add on to that. I think if someone like a Tuchel was to come in, I wouldn't rule out that possibility. Now, there's a lot of moving parts for that to happen, but Tuchel does like his wing backs, and I think bringing him back, I don't know. I can see a world where it happens. Sorry, Shrey, that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, I was saying there's Kirkes as well, who I'm sure would be moving on from Bournemouth next year. And if
Alphonso Davis is another one by Munich.
If Tuchel comes back, maybe go in for Davis as well. I think he's on a free next year. He runs out.
Well, he's supposed to be signing with Madrid, but Euro was. So.
Yeah.
Who knows?
There are going to be a lot of options next season. It just, I think, like you mentioned as well, I think it just depends who the manager is going to be.
Yes. Yeah, that's very important. And I think that's another reason why, well, I don't know what's going to happen with Ten Hag, but why they probably won't do strong business in the January market. They'll probably go and get a Reguilon again if these issues kind of continue. It's a shame you can't get loans after the window, because I'm sure there's still some free agents you could do half. I mean, I wouldn't go and get him now, but I know someone like a Marcus Alonso is a free agent at the minute. Just as an experienced left back to cover there, but he's a dickhead as well. So
Samosa's gone, hasn't he, somewhere? Where did Samosa go to?
Who?
Samosa. You remember Mario Hermoso?
Oh. Hermoso, not Samosa.
No, we called him Samosa, didn't we? Remember?
Oh, we did. Yeah, you're correct. He did. Yeah.
Where's he gone?
Sorry.
He's gone.
Roma. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Completely forgot about that. That shows how quickly time moves in football, doesn't it? The usual option Ten Hag would lean towards is Lisandro Martinez, isn't it? But we have just had news in the last hour that he's turned up to Argentina camp with a physical problem, is the way it's been translated. So God knows what that means. But it's either a muscle injury or something's going on with him. Can only speculate. So even that option, Shreyas, to move Lisandro out on the left back, which I don't like him there anyway. I thought maybe he could have done a job, but he struggled defending those wide channels, hasn't he? Especially against Porto. Yeah, we've not even got that option now.
Yeah, and I think the worst part is every single time I've heard even a single thing about Lisandro when it comes to injury, it's never been a short-term injury. Like, never. Yeah. Ever since he's come in at United, and even when I've seen there is physical discomfort attached to his name, he's been out for like 4 to 5 weeks. So I think we are genuinely losing out on a lot of defensive cover. And I would say we are losing out on the defensive cover that we rely on the most. Because you look on that back line, you lose Lisandro, that's a big loss. You already don't have Shaw and Malacia. So that left-hand side is practically gone at the moment. And then you're only left with Dalot as a natural fullback. And then you've got Evans and Lindelof. Those are just 3 options in that four-man back line. So he's genuinely going to have to come up with something. Either someone is going to be playing out of position. I don't know who it will be, but someone is genuinely going to be playing out of positions because right now we've only got 3 fit defenders.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, as Gary Neville just said there. Sorry about him cutting you in there. That was very rude of Gary, but you're absolutely spot on. I think I'm looking at that back line and I'm thinking, how the fuck are we here
again? Who comes in? The biggest question is who comes? Because there's genuinely going to be one person who has to fill in. You've only got 3 defenders, natural defenders in that back line. That's all.
Anthony at left back, maybe we might see. In a back 5, I just don't know. I really, really don't know. That is, how the fuck are we here again, Sam?
Genuinely, he's gonna put everybody there except the only actual fit left back we have in Harry Hamas, isn't he? He's gonna put everybody else there except him. Toby Collier's gone there. Lisandro's been there. Lindelof has gone there. Diego Dalot, who's a right back, has gone there. I'm sure fucking Johnny Evers played there at some point last season. I'm positive that he did. So Bruno, was it Bruno and Anthony were in the back line last season at some point as well? So yeah, he's gonna play everybody except the actual left back there, which is ridiculous at this point. Like,
only at United could we bring in a signing who we're actually really happy with. We got for really good money and has been one of our best performers since the start of the season. And then he's out for 8 weeks. Only at United that happens on a regular basis. I know other clubs have injuries and stuff like that, but we just seem to be so unfortunate with him. I don't know. Yeah, it just seems to be a curse, and the curse continues. You talked about the manager there as well. Obviously, he's got tough decisions to make. I don't even know if he's going to be in the dugout to make them at the minute, because as time goes on, tensions rise, as Fabrizio Romano reported, between Ineos and the manager. There's a couple of people going early on it saying that he's probably going to be in charge for Brentford. But Miguel Delaney put this out before, and again, take it with a pinch of salt, but this is just news that's been put out there. During the meeting between Manchester United's hierarchy on Tuesday, Thomas Tuchel was spoken of as the most likely new manager should Erik ten Hag be sacked. And we've also had, Sam, brace yourself, Gareth Southgate ruled himself out for a year, basically. So, yeah, that's definitely not happening. But more and more talk about Tuchel. Shreyas, I've had my say on Tuchel. I've given everything I needed to do. Who would be your choice now, personally, to come in?
At the moment, right now, or next season?
Right now.
Right now, Tuchel is probably the only option you've got. Because apart from that, the other options that you might look into, they aren't really good enough. And at least Tuchel has, got that experience of managing the big clubs. He's managed PSG, he's managed Chelsea, he's managed Bayern Munich as well. He's got some good success while he's been at those clubs, and he knows how to battle with tough egos as well at practically every single one of those clubs. So I think coming into this Manchester United right now isn't as bad of a problem as when he actually moved to Chelsea, because when he moved to Chelsea, it was genuinely a much worse situation, and even the players that were at the club right now, there were a lot of speculative marks on them.
I don't know. I think we're pretty close in terms of
I think we're there.
Yeah, but at least when you look at the squad, I would say when you look at the squad, though, you've got a much better setup when it comes to the players that we've got in right now. You look at the midfield and the options you've got with Ugarte and Menu. And then you've got Bruno, Eriksson, Mount, and Casemiro in there as well. And Tuchel knows how to work with those sort of midfielders. He's done it all the time during his career. And another thing about Tuchel is he knows how to, fluctuate around with formations when he's not got the personnel to cover. He's worked with a back 3, he's worked with back 4s, and he's worked with 4-4-2s as well in his time, so he knows how to accommodate players into his system. So I think out of all the options that we've got at the moment, he seems to be probably as the only one who can come in and actually, do something about this squad. Because apart from that, I really don't know what sort of manager would come in and actually, take command of this dressing room. Because even to get the command of this dressing room, it is a whole challenge in itself.
What's the negatives and the positives bringing Tuchel in right now, Sam? Do you think?
Short-term manager bounce, because we've seen that before. When Ollie came in, we went on that. Is it 14 games win run?
Yeah. Wait, can I ask you first? Would you prefer interim or head coach right now? Your preference?
I don't know if the head coach that I would want is available right now. So
okay,
I think
you have interim.
I'd go interim right now just because I think
right, okay.
you're not going to get Nagelsmann right now, who's my ideal coach. I think you'd have to wait until next summer after is it the World Cup next summer?
2026, isn't it?
26, yeah.
I was saying maybe you could get him in the summer. So yeah, maybe you try and court Nagelsmann, try and get him in the summer. That would be my ideal. I think you can give him time with the squad and transfers and stuff. And then you'd have to go interim at this point. Would Thomas Tuchel come in and do an interim role? I don't think he would. I think he wants the permanent job. So then you're looking at Ruud van Nistelrooy, but then we've spoke on Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's very similar to Ten Hag in playing style and stubbornness as well. So you might have similar issues there. And obviously he's culpable for what's been going on this season because he's part of the coaching staff. So it's like, that's another issue there as well. I don't think there is an option available where I'm 100% happy right now. I don't think it exists. Simone Inzaghi's apparently ruled himself out. He's not available. He's not going to happen. So, yeah, Nagelsmann is the number one choice for me, and I don't think he's available right now.
But if let's say tomorrow we got announced Tuchel's come in, what in your mind, what would be the positives and negatives of that situation?
More organised. I think the team would be significantly more organised. We've seen Thomas Tuchel when he came into Chelsea. He won a Champions League because he got the team organised. They're defensively sound. He's not the greatest sort of free-flowing attacking footballing coach in the world, but he will keep it so you're hard to beat. So we'll be set up more defensively, more organised, which will stop us conceding so many goals, so many mistakes. I think you'll get a bit of a manager bounce as well, fresh ideas, fresh concepts to the players, and we've seen that under different managers. They've bounced back, apart from Ralph Rangnick, where we just got worse, apparently. Didn't have that manager. We had 45 minutes of the manager bounce, didn't we? Against Crystal Palace, and it just went off a cliff. So yeah, I think those would be the good things. And then, but the negatives are he tends to fall out with everybody after about 2 years. He's done it at Dortmund, he done it at PSG, did it at Bayern.
It's always with recruitment, though.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You know, the first meeting that they had went really,
that's
really
what it was. That's what it was. They were like, we're going to bring players in. You're not going to have much of a say, and he's probably not.
And he went, no.
Which
no.
I don't see that problem going away. Like within yours, they're going to want to operate that way, so I don't see that problem going away. So yeah, it's a tricky situation, man. It's a really tricky situation.
Have you ever seen the film Whiplash?
Yes.
Yes. Have you seen the teacher in that?
Yeah.
That's how it's been described.
What is he called? Simmons. Something Simmons.
J.
Jonah Jameson, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, in Spider-Man.
Something Simmons.
Peter Parker. Yeah. Get it. Yeah. He's been described like that, basically, just striving way too much for perfection. Right. And it's an extremely intense coach. But I'm going to list some names to you, Shreyas, and just tell me what. Just tell me why you think I'm listing these names to you. Aubameyang, Dembele, Mkhitaryan, Kane, Chilwell, Reece, James, Neymar, Mbappe.
Players he's worked with.
Yeah, players he's worked with, but what? What
do you think fell out with him? Has he fell out with all of them?
No.
No, not with all of them.
I can tell you.
Did he sign all of them? No.
I mean, he might have done, but not that. But we need a countdown timer.
Shreyas would be shit on countdown, wouldn't he? He'd just run out of time every time.
Right, I'm going to tell you, and then I'll get reaction, okay? He really reluctant at you. You really want to get that answer. I can tell by your face. He's like, he didn't even say yeah then. He was just like, I'm going to tell you. So,
Okay.
every one of those players hit their best record under Tuchel. Every one of them. Aubameyang, Dembele, Mkhitaryan, Kane, Chilwell, Reece James, Neymar, and Mbappe all had the best seasons under Thomas Tuchel.
Was Reece James just staying fit for a period of time?
Stay fit, but the period, I don't know if you guys remember it, where Reece James and Chilwell had more assist and goals than Messi and Neymar at PSG. That was like a real stat that was out there. But my point is, he's good at getting the most out of players, and what we need right now as well is getting the most out of our players, isn't it?
That for Shreyas, is that for me, that one?
Yeah, it was for Shreyas. I thought we liked them. Shreyas.
Okay. Yeah, I think, look, when it comes to, the way he plays and, with how he actually works with players, even at Chelsea, I think a lot of people tend to, just associate a back three with being primitively defensive and very, very pragmatic. But it looks, when you actually look at the way Chelsea actually played, even when they played against us, they weren't really a defensive side. They were very, very first, whenever we played against them, they played on the front foot. They tried to contain us in our own half, and they made it a lot more difficult for us to actually get a goal. And throughout the course of that season as well, Reece James did fantastic enough in that season. Like you mentioned, Chilwell did very, very well. Havertz did really well. Mason Mount had one of his best ever seasons in Chelsea under Tuchel as well. So there are a lot of players who hit their best form under Tuchel, and with the kind of talent that United have got at the moment when it comes to their attacking players, I think he could get the best out of him, because you've got Højlund, you've got Xerxes, very, very young strikers. Garnacho is very young. Ahmad is very young, and then you've also got Rashford, who right now I would say is still getting his confidence back. He's still trying to get back to that level which he hit under Ten Hag's first season, but maybe, Tuchel can get the best out of him again. Maybe he can, elevate him to that level and make him, as the go-to guy in that attacking lineup right now, because he's the, most senior figure in that attacking lineup. And if he comes in, and I think the biggest challenge for him would only be if he can get the best out of Bruno Fernandes. If he gets the best out of Bruno Fernandes, most of his problems are already gone away.
Best case scenario, worst case scenario this season, Sam?
In terms of what? In Tuchel coming in charge? Or
just from now, how are you looking at it? So you can think whatever is going to happen with the club. We don't really know at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But as you sit here right now, what's the best case scenario in your head for the end of the season? What's the worst case scenario? What could happen?
Best case scenario is Ten Hag turns it around. He starts getting results. He starts getting performances out of the players, and we start pushing up the league, and we start winning games and convincingly putting on performances in games where we don't win, so we can get a bit of faith behind the team and the players. Worst case scenario is this slump of form continues on for the next couple of weeks, and he gets sacked in the November international break, which is traditionally where they tend to go in it. I think Ollie went there. I think Jose went there. So
yeah,
I think that's normally where they go, and they end up getting sacked. So this is the sort of two sides of the coin. I think the faith in Ten Hag has gone in sort of 99% of the fan base. I think he would have to perform miracles for the next couple of weeks, months, turn a lot of people back to his side. I think I can't remember what journalist it was. I think it was ESPN, Mark Ogden. I think he said he's on borrowed time. I think that's where he's at.
Yeah,
I think he's on borrowed time no matter what happens, because I just don't see a scenario where he's able to turn this round to the point where he gets everybody back on board and going, nah, he deserves to stay. There's no FA Cup final for him to sort of just switch things around on a one game thing in a minute. He has to do it game to game, and it just seems like game to game we aren't doing that, and I just don't see how he does it. So I think it ends with him being sacked in November, and then does Ruud take it for a bit? Do they line up Thomas Tuchel now and say, look, he's got a certain amount of weeks, but would you be ready to go in November? I don't know. I don't know what happens there. So yeah, those are the two best case and worst case scenario. Which one's the most likely? It's probably the worst case one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Any thoughts on that, Shreyas?
Yeah, to be very honest, these are when it comes to, with the way I'm looking at things right now, I don't think that he's going to be staying the full season. And I don't think that Ineos would be looking to actually, give him more time to actually turn things around. With the way the performances have been, with the way we've been setting up in games. And I think the biggest problem is how we've been, drawing and losing games. I think that's one of the biggest factors that have, brought Ineos to this point as well. And I think in the last 5 games that we've played, we've not even won a single game. It's been like 3 draws or 2 draws and 3 losses, something like that in our last 5 games. And when I look at this team, I just don't see how it can get better at the moment. I just really don't see where the goals come from. I don't see who can step up in midfield and actually, organize it a bit. I just don't see it at the moment in this team. And with the way he's been making calls as well, Rashford not getting enough minutes when he's actually hit some form. Suddenly seeing Garnacho being played off from the right, then he subs off Garnacho when he looks sharp and gets Rashford or Ahmad on in that position. Højlund and Xerxes, both of them have been working, has been very questionable as well. Picking Bruno time and time again in midfield when he's probably having one of his worst patches, worst patch of form ever in a United shirt. So there are a lot of calls that are questionable with Ten Hag at the moment. And the most realistic case scenario does look like he'll be moving away from the club, I think, by November time.
Oh, God. For God's sake. I hate this club. It just puts you right through the fucking ringer, doesn't it? I mean, I was going to do 3 things Ten Hag can improve upon, but I think we could save that for a show in itself.
Yeah.
I think we should do that tomorrow, potentially, fellas, and get into that. But, yeah, don't look great for Mazraoui. Don't look great for Lissandro. I mean, Yoro's going to be back in a few weeks, I think, maybe early November. Shaw not back till November.
Malacia.
We're not scoring goals. We're not defending very well. It's just, oh, man.
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? Yeah, that's the question. That should be the title of the show. What are we doing? Because I'm struggling.
I really do want to know when it comes to those training sessions, what is the idea behind?
Well,
like, what do they do?
We've built a white wall now, Shreyas, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we can't see it anymore. They built a massive fucking 200 grand
Couldn't
wall.
see it with the wall or without the wall, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, that was the worst 200 grand spent ever, wasn't it? Yeah, let's put a wall around us so no one can see these shit tactics that everyone's exploiting. Yeah, what a great idea that was. Yeah, fantastic.
United really is like being in an abusive relationship, isn't it? It's just literally like you're just constantly hoping it's going to get better and they're going to change, and then every year they punch you in the face and let you down.
Ten Hag goes fuck off, slap
every week, every year. Yeah, you're just like fucking. Why am I still here? Why am I still doing this to myself? You can't leave because that's your team. Like, you pick a team, you have to stick with it no matter what, and it's just like, for fuck's sake, man.
Do you know what sums up perfectly? I don't know if anyone's seen the film with Jake Gyllenhaal. I think it's about the Boston bombings, and he's in the car with his wife, and he's screaming to her, saying, "Why? Why are you still with me?
Yeah.
Why do you still love me?
I was always there. I was there. I was there."
Yeah. That's what I'm replaying in my head every time with United. It's such a difficult club to support, man. But I suppose it's come rain, sunshine, and wind, and all that kind of stuff.
I suppose it's because we did so well for so long. That had to be.
Yeah,
there had to be a fucking. There had to be a fucking drop in there.
It.
Yeah, Shreyas didn't get to see it.
Shreyas, you got the bad end of that deal, mate. Yeah, you got the shitty part of that side, didn't you? Legit.
Fucking hell.
My God. Welcome to United, everyone. Yeah, I think we can leave it at that, lads. To be fair, I think that's a good place to end it on. Of course, if anything breaks, we'll go live for it in regards to the manager. But I think ultimately now it seems that he's probably going to end up staying. I'd be very surprised if he announced that Tuchel's coming in this week or next week. But if you're going to do it, you don't want to leave it until the end of the international break. Do you?
If he's gonna go, I think it'll be November international break. I think that'll be it. I think he's safe for this one, but I think November, if we see no upturning results, he's gone. Interesting.
Shreyas, final say on that? Does he go or does he stay? Does he stay or should he go now?
10 points. 10 points if you can name the band. Go on.
No idea. And it's pointless even asking Shreyas because if I don't know it, Shreyas definitely doesn't know it.
No,
definitely doesn't know it.
I think he goes.
The Clash. It's the Clash.
The Clash. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, we was in 2 different conversations there. Shreyas, you think he goes? Yeah.
Yeah.
By when? Give me a time, date.
I think at max, I think by Christmas he's gone.
Oh, right, by Christmas. I'm talking about this week, the next 2 weeks.
This week. He might be gone, yeah. With the fixtures you got.
You're not sitting on the fence on this one. It's either a yes or a no.
Yeah, he's gone. We got
He's
Brentford coming up next, and they've been in very good form as well.
We're talking about Brentford and Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Yeah,
Brentford. Oh,
yeah. But that's the form that we're in at the minute, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's the shit thing. We're like, oh yeah.
People
People are worried.
Wolves.
Yeah, people are genuinely worried about that Brentford game.
You look at that team and you're like, Mbermo's gonna fucking tear us apart. Vissa's gonna tear us apart.
Vissa, the scoring in the first minute of every single game, which is like United's kryptonite anyway.
And also, they're really good at set pieces, which we're really shit at as well, defending wise. So, yeah, that's
great. Can't wait for that. And then in the meantime, we've got to watch Lee Carsley's England. Well, we don't have to, but it's the only football that's on, unfortunately. So great times for United fans. Always love to end the show on a positive. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that notification bell. We appreciate it. It's the international break's a little bit dry at the moment. But just a couple of notes for the channel going forward. The majority of shows, or evening shows at least, will be at 6 o'clock now, moving forward, due to exterior things. So just letting you guys know if you are watching this live, I'll watch this later on. So, yeah. Sorry if that's kind of inconvenient for anyone, but it's just the way it's got to be, unfortunately. And then afternoon news shows will return when there is news, but it's so dry at the minute, I'm not just going to go live for the sake of it. So, yeah, take that as you will.
If things do break late in the evening, I will jump on, and I'm sure other lads will jump on with me. Like if there's major news like Ten Hag being sacked, because it's always at an inconvenient time, as we've found out in the past when people have been in the bath or doing other stuff. So yeah, I will jump on if needs be.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, everyone who's watching. Thank you, Sam and Shreyas. I'll take these off now. See you in a bit.